Good afternoon, everyone. This video today is to discuss how to create composite images. Composite images are similar to the ones you're seeing right now on the district website. The purpose of a composite image is to allow you to take several portrait photographs and in combination with landscape, more portrait, you can arrange these in a lot of different ways. Create a composite photo that you would normally use to describe a story where a singular landscaped image is not available or maybe appropriate. Maybe you're doing a field day and you've got a bunch of photos like this and you want to showcase more than one, or you've got multiple portraits and no landscape, similar to the Teacher of the Year story we saw just a second ago, or similar to this one where students are running for our office and you've got several photos but no portrait ones to do a single image, or you just don't want to do a single image for a story, you want to do multiples. So that's what we're going to go over. I'm going to show you how to create these. It's very simple, nothing to it at all. So to get started, you first need to grab some images. I just grabbed some off Google search. Again, took me a minute to go and just pick a few. Now that I have them saved to my desktop, I can go to PicMonkey and start creating my composite image. Remember, when you go to PicMonkey, you're normally editing a single photo. Here, we're going to click this. We're going to click the second option, which is to create a collage or a composite photo. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And I'm going to get the default layout and some options over here on the side. Obviously, the first is to upload the photos. I'm going to leave the default for right now. Let's go ahead and get our images into PicMonkey. So I'm going to click upload. I already have from my computer selected. And while it's sitting here thinking, there we go, I can start picking my photos. And I'm going to upload, I think I have 4 that I'm going to use, 3 of which are portrait and 1 of which is a landscape photo. Okay, and upload the last one. Okay, so now I have all 4 photos I intend to use. Now, looking at this, we obviously have some problems with this. First of all, the dimensions are not going to work for the rotator. Rotator is 940 by 367. This is not going to work. But beyond that, the layout itself is not ideal. So what I'm going to show you are the various functions that can be done with a collage. It's limited. It's not the same as a regular picture edit. Okay, so you have obviously the first one, which is uploading the photos you intend to use. The next section is the layout style. You can do ducks in a row, which you saw a second ago, and you can do various ones. Okay, you can do these, but these don't work for the rotator really. Remember, the rotator is still 940 by 367. It is still a landscape layout. So while some of these are cool looking, they're not going to work for the rotator. Here's the one that they start you with. Here's one that has 3. Now notice if I pick that one, that's actually not a bad layout if I turn it. So if I click the rotator button, now I have something that I can probably make work for the rotator. One of the ones I really like is the Facebook cover style. If I pick that one, it shows 4 spots. Okay, so we're going to use this one to start with, and then we'll switch back to one of the other layouts so you can see some other possibilities. So now that I have my layout picked out, I can go back to my images, okay? And I'm simply going to start dragging them into the thing, okay? And I'm going to put this one here, and I'm going to put this one here, and I'm going to put this one down here, okay? And lastly, since I know this is a landscape, I'm going to put that one there, okay? So at this point, I can pretty much be done. One thing I don't like is the width in between the spaces, or in between the pictures. I don't like the fact that when I drag this photo in here, it's cutting off some of the top of this girl's head. So most of these photos can be manipulated inside their frame. If I take this one, I can drag it down and get get her whole entire head in the shot. This one I want to slide it over a little bit. Okay, this one can be manipulated a tiny little bit up and down, but that's it. It's really going to depend on the photo, what sort of manipulation. Now, how do I reduce the thickness of this border? Okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to select this, which will allow me to do various things, one of which is spacing, and it is indeed the spacing between the images themselves. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down to 5. The next option is corner rounding. It will actually round the corners of the photos. If I go all the way out to the end, I get circles. Get some ovals here. I don't particularly care for corner rounding, but to each his own. If you want to do that, that's fine. I would leave the background color white. You can select transparent background. It'd probably be okay. All it's going to do is that. There's really no reason to do that. Okay, now that I have all of these things set, I've got my photos in here. The last thing I need to do before I save this photo is I would need to adjust the overall width and height. So remember, 940, 367, okay? And now it's properly sized for the rotator. Images still look great. If I need to adjust them, I can, but overall everything looks pretty good. I'm going to move that one back a tad. Okay, awesome. Now at this point I can hit save, and it's going to prompt me to save it. Notice my dimensions are correct. I'll save the file. At this point I could re-import it back into PicMonkey as a single photo, and I could add some of the effects that you've seen in the first video. I could add text. All the things that you get style-wise with a single photo would be available to me, but I must save it off as an image first before I can re-import it. Okay, I'm going to cancel this. I'm going to go back to layout. So let's say you do all this and you decided, you know what, I don't really like this. I really want this to look more landscape-ish than square. So I'm going to pick a different layout, and I'm going to go with this one. Okay, again, notice it kept all the photos, but it sort of randomly, but it arbitrarily kind of decided how to set that up, right? So I'm going to change it to this. Okay, notice my dimensions are now back to 1024 by 1024, so I need to change those again. 940, 367, okay? At this point, I'm going to have to adjust these a little. Notice how, since these started off as portrait photos, do not transition well to this layout. In fact, I'm not going to be able to get this child's face in here really at all. Okay? It does okay with that, but it's really not a great layout for these particular photos. It doesn't mean it couldn't be, but you would probably have to use different photos. We'll switch to ducks in a row. Ducks in a row does pretty good. Notice the border spacing and the dimensions are way too big. So I would have to go back in here and adjust the spacing back down to something reasonable. I like 5. And then I would have to change this again, 940, 367, okay? And perfect. This one's a little fuzzy. That's probably because it's too small. File size, I didn't look at it. In fact, this one is a little grainy as well. And obviously this one doesn't work as well as it did in our original layout. If I go back to FB cover and select that, then I'm back to where I started nearly. Notice my dimensions. It's going to do this every time you change layouts. Make sure you're paying attention to the final dimensions. Okay, it's going to default back to 20 on the spacing. So we'll change it back to 5. Change this back to 940. 367, okay? At this point, I would save. Again, make sure your dimensions are correct. This is always good, great quality, good file size. Notice the final file size, 126K, that's perfect. You know, you'll probably want to rename it to My Collage or whatever you're going to call it, okay? And then hit Save Photo, it'll save it to the desktop. All there is to it, okay? Very quick, very easy to do collage style photos. Not a whole lot of image resizing. Again, if it's a large portrait photo, you may want to resize it before you try to upload it to PicMonkey. If the internet connection happens to be slow at the time you're doing it, could cause you problems, but notice that the end product, regardless of these picture sizes, is going to be this size. So if you upload 4 1 megabyte photos, don't worry about it. You're still only going to end up with 126K at the end of the day. Okay, and that's it. I hope everybody's enjoyed this tutorial. I'll make some more videos shortly. In the meantime, you have this one.